Hello everyone, welcome to YK Reviews. Welcome to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem spoiler review. Yes, this is going to be a spoiler review, so loads to talk about. The good, the bad, the great. So let's get straight into it here. So yes, as I mentioned in the intro here, this is going to be a spoiler review. We just got done watching the Mutant Mayhem movie, just came out the theatres right now. And man, I gotta say, I'll be honest right now, I had such a blast with this movie. When this movie first announced with Sethrogen being behind it, I was a little bit hesitant. Also the fact that you're going to have teenagers voicing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, really was very hesitant about it. But then when the reviews came out, I thought, okay, I may have been wrong. When the trailer even came out, I actually really enjoyed it. I was comparing it to Across the Spider-Verse in terms of the animation style, but this is just a complete difference. But I'll talk about all of that when we do talk about the positives, because I'm going to be talking about the good and the bad and overall everything, how I would rate it. And also, if you are new to the channel and you do like this type of content, I've done all the reviews for all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, including the Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, animated movie. So if you are new and you do like that kind of stuff, definitely hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on that. There is going to be the tier ranking for all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies coming out within the next 2 days, so definitely subscribe if you are into those types of videos. And if you enjoy this type of content, considering also hitting that like button and following me on Twitter so that you know whenever I do post. But let's talk about the Mutant Mayhem movie, because like I said, this was such a blast. I had a really great time with it. The plot overall, I think, worked really well, because you start off with the backstory when it comes to the Superfly, who's being voiced by Icecube. And Icecube just had this menacing presence overall throughout the whole movie. He really came across as a terrifying villain, wanting to destroy the humans, wanting to kill the humans. And honestly, the reason for it was very justifiable. With him and Splinter, they both had this character of hating the humans for various different reasons, especially when they both tried to go out into the world. Being freshly born, being new to this, going out to the world, having people attack them, both Splinter and Superfly, so they're both coming from the same page. I thought it was understandable and it worked really well for his reasonings. But you see him with Baxter Stockman and you get to see that Baxter Stockman is getting taken away. I just hope that we get to see more of Stockman, because I love Giancarlo Esposito as an actor. And I think he only delivered like 2 lines throughout the whole movie. We didn't really get to see him much, so I do hope we get to see more of him. And because like these people raided Baxter Stockman's basement, I think it was, the ooze ended up landing into the sewers, and that's what caused the Turtles to become what they are, so 15 years later. So we get the origin story for the Turtles, because even Master Splinter, who is voiced by Jackiechan, and I thought Splinter was so hilarious. Granted, his character design, I wasn't too keen on it at first, but he won me over straight away. Like, I knew Jackiechan was going to be a great Splinter, a great sensei, but he really knocked it out of the water with his line delivery, with his charisma, with his jokes. And you just felt so bad for him too, especially throughout the whole movie when his son are wanting to like live above ground and he's trying to throw this fake party, even having these cardboard cutouts of Chris Evans and Chris Pine. Like, he was so energetic and so adorable. Even like towards the end of the movie, when he had that chance to shine with his action sequence, with his fight sequences, just killing his role in the movie with the choreographed fights, beating up the soldiers, rescuing his son. The ongoing theme of the milking the nipples, while that kind of humour wouldn't have got a laugh out of me, but the way Jackiechan delivered that line about the milking of the nipples was honestly a nice touch. So Master Splinter was a perfect character in this movie, and his whole journey throughout the whole movie I thought was done so brilliantly. Like I said, he hated humans, he disliked the humans because of what they did to him and the turtles when they were babies, to trying to prevent his sons from leaving the sewer, going off into their own, into the real world, realizing that Superfly is basically having the same kind of motives, hating humans, wanting all the other villains to like stay with him. He kind of got that realization, and even that heartfelt moment, that amazing moment towards the third act when you have Splinter down and out and then these humans come to pick him up, come to help him. That was just so perfectly done. Like, I really loved Splinter's character arc throughout this movie. And then you get to the Turtles themselves. Now, like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of the original idea of having teenagers voice these Turtles, but they really won me over. Like, I had a great time with the Turtles. There is a couple of nitpicks when I have with them, but I'll get to that when it comes to the negatives. But with them recording their lines in the same room, you really felt that chemistry as brothers with one another. They were just bouncing off each other really well. I'll be honest, I felt like such a grown-up during the movie because there was so many like references and slang that I honestly had no idea what they were talking about, because it's like what the teenagers are at the time right now, what they're saying, and you even had them on their smartphone looking at social media. So for me, growing up as a turtle fan, a massive turtle fans, obviously when I was a kid I didn't have like an iPhone or anything like that, so whatever the turtles were as teenagers is what I reflected with. But nowadays, with this day and age, you've got teenagers all having cell phones, all having the latest technology, so the turtles are reflecting of that. But overall, I just really liked what they were doing with the turtles themselves. Like towards the beginning of the movie, you had them running errands, getting shopping for Master Splinter, sneaking around, getting the party-sized Cool Ranch chips or crisps. You had them going to like watch the movies with the humans, obviously in the background. You can tell that it was like affecting them being stuck in the sewers for such a long time and them wanting to just have like a normal life. They even have like this fantasy after meeting April where they want to go to high school, where they wanted to become like the popular, not the popular kids, but they wanted to be like amongst the crowd. You see that throughout the whole movie, how they just wanted to like blend in, and that's kind of what you get with the rest of the mutants too, is that they all just wanted to like blend in. Even Superfly, despite his villainous ways, wanted to just have this world where he could just walk around, roam around freely. And it was just really nicely done with these turtles. And when it comes to like even the action sequences too, like obviously they're very young, they're like 15 years old, so they're still fresh. They learned the ninjutsu through TV and through YouTube and that kind of stuff. You see like this little montage, which I honestly didn't mind. I think that it was a lot better than like the Michael Bay version where Master Splinter learned it from a book. Having them learn ninjutsu, like taking a long time to like watch it through social media, through YouTube, through TV, that kind of stuff, I think it works better. Granted, I would have just preferred him having his Master Yoshi where he learnt it, but this one works just as well. And you kind of see their raw fighting style, like when they go into this car park, this garage, beating up all these mobsters that steal April's bike, when they're going to like interrogate these people to try and find information about Superfly. You see how great they are when it comes to like their ninjutsu skills, but you also see their raw talent when it comes to taking out the villains of the movie, like Superfly and the mutants themselves. So you had that great balance there, and honestly, what I really liked is just how fun and charming this movie was. It was such a great watch. It was so enjoyable. You had such a great time with these characters and with the direction that the movie was going with, and also too like the animation, because as I mentioned, when I saw the trailer I was comparing this to the Spider-Verse movie in terms of the animation style, but watching this movie, it's a complete night and day difference. Granted, both animations are completely stunning, but the animation style in this movie just really took on a life of its own. I love the designs of the turtles, I love the design of New York City, and the animation style just blending in together. It just looked so great. Granted, the human characters looked kind of odd, certain ones, especially the evil lady boss, her face just looked really weird, but overall in terms of the animation style, it just looked incredible. Like the animation, the score, the plot, everything just balanced out so well and worked really great. So you will definitely have a great time. I was sitting in the theaters, there was a lot of kids around, so they're probably experiencing Turtles for the first time, and you could tell that they're having such a great time with this movie. It is charming and it's enjoyable, and one of the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies they have done. So honestly, Sethrogen, I applaud you for a great movie. But like I said, I did have some nitpicks when it comes to it. So when it comes to the actual turtles themselves, overall they were a great casting choice. What they were doing with the turtles was really great. However, the personalities just didn't really shine through, like the turtles that I know and love. So for example, Leonardo didn't really have like that leadership personality to him up until the last part of the movie, when he was yelling at the turtles, telling them what they're good at, how it's going to work to try and beat Superfly. I really enjoyed that part of the movie, but overall I want to see more from Leonardo as in terms of his leadership role. I also wanted to see more of a dynamic between Leo and Ralph, because no matter what, in the comics, in the series, in the movies, you'll always have that blend of Leo versus Ralph, their clash of heads basically. So with this one, you didn't really get that much. Ralph didn't really have that normal personality he has got. In that same sequence with Leo showing himself as a leader, they told Ralph to basically Hulk out, and he was able to like flip the van over, but we didn't really get to see him sort of rebelling or him having that rage that he normally does have. So I hope that they do explore that more. And also again with Mikey, he was more of like the serious type in this movie. Like he was the one normally telling the turtles to like get their heads out of their butts, or telling them like what what's a good idea, what's a bad idea. So he didn't really have that comedy relief element to him. So I know that they are going to be doing a TV series in between this movie and the sequel to this movie, because the series itself, the plot synopsis of the series is going to be the Turtles will be challenged like never before as Leo, Ralph, Donnie and Mikey each go it alone for the first time. Faced with new threats and teaming up with old allies, the Turtles will discover who they really are when they don't have their brothers at their side. And I hope that means that they are going to get that personality that they are known and loved for, because also when it comes to the end of the movie, having them go to school, high school I believe it was, I wasn't a huge fan of that choice, because normally the Turtles live in the shadows, they come out at night, they're not seen by anybody. So for them to be in school in public like this, I just wasn't a huge fan of that direction. But for me, I'm holding out reservations, especially because like what they're going to do, because now with that plot line, I kind of understand like they're going to be going out in different directions, going out on their own, possibly in school, trying to like work their crowd and see who they most align with. So that could work really well, and then that could also lead into what happens in the sequel, because if you aren't aware, there was a post-credit scene or a mid-credit scene teasing the Shredder in the sequel of the movie. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that and how it's going to work, especially because also, as I mentioned in my shorts, the villains of the movie, like the mutants, you had Bebop, Rocksteady, Gecko, I feel like there were too much mutants in line with Superfly, so they didn't really get a chance to flesh out their character. Like Leatherhead, I love Leatherhead in the comics, in the series, like he was a great character for me, but this one he just wasn't utilized that much. He barely was in the movie, like a couple of lines here and there. Similar with like Gecko, and again with Bebop and Rocksteady, they were also not utilized as much. But now with them basically living in the lair with Master Splinter and the Turtles, curious to see how that dynamic is going to work now with the Shredder coming into the picture. We might see Bebop and Rocksteady joining forces with the Shredder. Curious to see how the alliance is going to shift in the upcoming series and in the upcoming movie. So it's got a lot of potential, but I just wasn't a huge fan of how they handled the villains and how they handled the Turtles going into the real world. But overall, like I said, still a great movie, a really fun, enjoyable, charming, heartfelt movie, and one, like I said, I would highly recommend. One of the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies that they have done. And if you have seen the movie, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts about it. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? What your overall thoughts are about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. But that about wraps it up for this movie review. As we conclude the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie series reviews for all the movies, like I said, there will be a tier ranking video coming out in the next couple of days, ranking all the movies, so definitely keep an eye out on the channel for that. But I thank you so much for watching, and I thank you so much for listening. This is Icecube Reviews. Peace.